All right, guys, this news broke about 3 hours ago. It's 4:15 here now, and we're going to be recording this video. 4:15 on the East Coast here on Saturday, November 25th of 2023. The University of Michigan State has now hired their next football coach, and it's Jonathan Smith. And Jonathan Smith checks every single box. I'm going to read you guys his overall record. But Jonathan Smith teams, they play incredibly hard. And Jonathan Smith teams are tough. It's a downhill running game. It's a little bit different where they'll stretch you out a little bit. It's kind of like a zone running scheme. And really, their running backs are incredibly physical. It's a smash mouth style of football that's built along the lines of scrimmages. And he's won at a place in Oregon State where the Pac-12 has been a pretty good conference, especially of late. And to really recruit to Corvallis, I mean, he's also gotten like DJ Uiagalelei and believe he was in it for like JT Daniels as well. So he knows how to recruit like big time quarterback play. And, Luke Musgrave was a tight end who went in the second round there out of Oregon State. So he'll develop some NFL players. He'll develop cornerbacks, and he'll develop good defensive players. And it's a physical team, but his offense is still innovative enough where he'll stretch the field occasionally. So they still have a lot more of a dynamic offense than maybe your Iowas of the world. But in every other sense of the world, like they're a physical football team. They're kind of a little bit even like Utah, and that's kind of what he was building it in that sense. And also, as you get into November and late October, gets rainy and cold there in the Pacific Northwest. And East Lansing has a similar climate where they're going to be rain games. It's going to be colder. And Jonathan Smith just fits Michigan State. He fits that Mark D'Antonio kind of style. He fits a physical brand of football. He's actually going to have probably more recruiting resources at Michigan State than he did at Oregon State. And then for Jonathan Smith, like him going to A&M would maybe be a ton of pressure with the money that he'd maybe be making at A&M. Then he'd have to recruit in the state of Texas and win 5-star recruiting battles. I know that Brian Kelly was able to do that, but Jonathan Smith, maybe he wants to take guys from the high school ranks that maybe are 3-stars and develop them. So I really think he can kind of create his own program. He was at Oregon State for a while. I'm going to get you guys all of the stats about Jonathan Smith, but a tremendous job by Michigan State here getting Jonathan Smith, because Jonathan Smith was going to be sought after even for the UCLA job. It's an underrated hire in the sense that not many casual fans will really appreciate the job that he's done at Oregon State and that he's done on a consistent basis, but it actually fits perfect for Michigan State. And other than maybe Mel Tucker, who just had like a great transfer year with Kenneth Walker, and then that program really dipped off. And again, we never could see the end of the Mel Tucker era because of what happened and because how Michigan State reacted to that situation. But really, Jonathan Smith has been a Washington offensive coordinator. He was at Boise State. Let's see who was even at Boise State. But all right. So from 2018 to 2023, started out at Oregon State, took over, I believe, for Mike Riley, who then went to Nebraska. And he was 2-10 to start out. So really a tough situation. Got off. It was a really tough start. Then he went 5-7. Then you had the COVID year. But then in 2021, he went 7-6. They made a bowl game. They lost in the bowl game. Then last year, they absolutely housed Florida and won 10 games, believe went 9-3 in the regular season, which is tremendous at Oregon State. And then he went 8-4 this year, and they lost a combined like 3 out of their 4 games by like a combined 9 points. So this is a guy that's going to create physical run game. I know it's a little bit of a short sample size actually as a head coach, 5 years, but he's an offensive coordinator. But that Oregon State program was really, really buttoned up the entire time. And that's why I think it's a terrific hire. His entire coaching career, he started out as a GA at Oregon State. He played at Oregon State from Pasadena, California. Okay. Then was an Idaho QB coach for 5 years. Okay, so really knows about offense and quarterback play. Washington from 2014 to 2017. I believe that was also with Chris Peterson. Yes, it was Chris Peterson. So he was Boise State during the glory years of Peterson, and then he really, was a really solid coach under Chris Peterson, and Peterson had really, really good offense even during that time. Believe it was like Jake Browning. I don't know if like Locker was there during like the 2014 to 2017, but it was Jake Browning, really good wide receiver play. And Jonathan Smith goes out there and he finds gems. So I love the hire. It's a perfect fit. It's an overachieving hire for Michigan. Even if Mel Tucker didn't get into trouble, I think that Jonathan Smith's actually a better coach than Mel Tucker because Mel Tucker was very inconsistent. At Colorado, he was inconsistent. Of course, winning that Peach Bowl was fantastic, phenomenal. But then he had Peyton Thorne leave. Keon Coleman ended up leaving all before the season started. The program was not on a good trajectory. In a perfect world, you would live in a scandalous world and get to see everybody live out their contract without having scandal and without having controversy. But that did not happen. And that does not happen in this world and does not happen in college football. And it just is, it's an ugly situation. Whenever it's an off-field situation that gets rid of a coach, it is uncomfortable and frustrating, okay? And it's frustrating for people who believed in the Mel Tucker plan. It is. It's frustrating. Because, like, if there's an on-field firing, like, for example, like Zach Arnett was not good this year, or Sam Pittman gets 4 years and it's on field, very easy for everybody to see, okay, it's about winning and the guy didn't win. But it's a controversy for sure. All right, but Jonathan Smith, guys, let's just talk about Jonathan Smith without the Mel Tucker situation. Jonathan Smith, though, is a really good football coach, and I believe he fits the Michigan State mold, and he's won at a place that's identical to Michigan State and even harder to win than Michigan State. So I believe that he's a gem and A-plus hire. He's a guy that I think could be there 15 to 20 years. I think he could retire there because I think he's going to enjoy the lifestyle of living in East Lansing, Michigan. Him and his family lived in Corvallis for a very long time, okay, and I don't think he's the type of guy that's going to want to jump. I think that he wants to develop and build a program and stay at that program. I don't think he wants to just go out there, go win big, and then look to leap. Because if he would have done that, he would have leaped already from Oregon State, especially maybe coming off of last year, or he would have waited for UCLA and see what would happen with Chip Kelly. But Michigan State was very proactive in the search. They went out there, they beat people to the punch, and again, it's a really, really good fit. I think you're going to see consistent football, and as the Big Ten gets harder, going 8-4 and winning 9 games, that's consistency, and that's being really good. That's being better than like your Nebraska. That's being better than your Minnesotas, and that's what's going to happen as the Big Ten expands, okay? And you let in Washington and Oregon, by the way. Jonathan Smith's going to have familiarity playing those programs, but again, like realistically for Michigan State, they're going to be a program that can be like Kansas State, where they'll go, you're a really good program if you have 7 or 8 wins, okay, a yearly. And then if you pop off that 10 or 11 win team, you have like a DJ Uiagalelei at quarterback, you hit lightning in a bottle with an elite quarterback, an elite running back, everybody stays healthy, like, and then in a 12-team playoff, you might be able to get in. but honestly, the program's kind of like a 6-win program, 7-win program, and then you try to stabilize it, and you're a little bit like Kentucky in the SEC. But Michigan State, they were even performing at a worse level than, much worse than D'Antonio. D'Antonio had it rolling where they were winning, going to the Rose Bowl and everything. That he was exceeding expectation. But for Michigan State, the divisions are going away, the expanded playoff, all of this. You got to get a coach who's really solid. You got to get a coach who can develop. And in this world of NIL and paying players, Michigan State's not going to have a bigger war chest than Ohio State, than Oregon, than Penn State. So you got to be able to win around the edges, coach up, and be elite and be really strong at your job and have great culture. And that's what Jonathan Smith can bring. So this is a perfect fit. And I just illustrated why I love the fit. Congratulations to the Spartans fans, because I believe Coach Smith is a really good football coach.